Hey, hola, ¿cómo estás? Bonjour, ça va? It's me, the Lost Canuck, coming at you live and in person in front of the barbecue barn on this beautiful, sunny, warm Wisconsin day. Hey, some of you guys were asking, Lost Canuck, I've got a pellet smoker, pellet grill, kind of like yours, or maybe not like yours. How do I get more smoke out of the thing? Well, glad you asked. On today's episode, this episode's all about how to get a little more smoke out of your pellet smoker. Now, most of it's going to be geared towards the Lone Star Grillz 42-inch pellet smoker, but there's some hacks in here that are universal for all kinds of pellet smokers. So if you have one of these, I'm going to go through all the little hacks and fun things we can do to get a little more smoke. And then along the way on their steps, we're going to talk about, hey, if you got a regular pellet grill, you can do this too. All right, so let's roll that intro and we'll get into it. Okay, so like I was saying, more smoke. Do you need it? Maybe not. Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know what kind of pellet smoker you got, but the Lone Star by itself, okay, so we're gonna go from lowest amount of extra smoke all the way up to insane level smoke, okay? So we're gonna start off this, I'm standing in front of, this is my Lone Star Grillz 42-inch pellet smoker. This thing is the smokiest pellet smoker that I think is out on the market right now. There's a couple other ones built in Texas that have probably similar smoke levels. I think Cando Gear is one of them. And I'm not sure about the pits and spits. I think this has a little more. And then, Yoder makes one up in Kansas. But we're going to talk today about this one and then other ones that you may have. So by itself, how you get good, this has got awesome smoke. And how you get it is using a high quality pellet, okay? So I run usually lumberjack pellets right here. These happen to be the 100% cherry. I like the 100% ones, 100% oak, 100% hickory, 100%, that's all that's in it, okay? There's no base wood. I've been using these knotty wood pellets quite a bit. Now you got to be careful with these. They grind the bark into these as well. So after a cook, just empty out your burn pot, because if you don't, these will produce a little more clinkers than the regular ones. So just vacuum out or dump your burn pot out when you run all these knotty woods. These are high quality. I like the lumberjack. I like the knotty wood. And then I've been testing and running these Canadian pellets that I'll have another episode on soon. These are from Duck Mountain, okay? They're from my home province of Manitoba. I don't think you can get them here in the U.S. I might be the only guy in the U.S. running these. These are Duck Mountain. These are Brock Lesnar's brand smoking bullets. They're pretty good. They're made up in Manitoba, where I'm from, and it's a high-quality pellet too. So if you're in Canada, check these out. But anyways, enough said about that. So step one, use a good quality pellet and in your pellet smoker, and you should be okay. Lone Star, this thing's a smoke machine. It will put out the smoke, okay? All right, we're going to go to step two next, so hang on. All right, well, we're back. So you remember how I said pellets are super important? Now, some of you guys say, run any kind of pellets, it doesn't matter. My opinion, lots of other people's opinion, that's not true, okay? Or that's not a fact anyways. So what I like to do for a little extra smoke on my pet, and this hack number two, you can run these in any pellet smoker you got. Pellet grill, pellet smoker. I run these in all my pellet smokers. These are called Smokin Pecan pellets, okay? Now, I'm not paid I'm not sponsored. I don't get any deals. I buy these just like everybody else, okay? So basically, these are pecan shells from Texas. After the harvest, they pelletize these into smoking pellets. And that's all that's in these pellets is 100% pecan shells, nothing else. And let me tell you, these things really add a lot of extra smooth, kind of a smooth, mellow, nutty flavor to your food, okay? So pellets do matter. And those things really put out a lot more smoke than your average pellet, okay? So that's another way to get some extra smoke. Now those boxes, I think they're still like $32 or $33 for a 20-pound box, okay? So they are expensive. You can mix them in with your other pellets, your regular pellets, to save a little money, extend them, get a little more smoke. Now, if you use 100%, you get more smoke. If you mix it down to 50, you get a little extra smoke. You just have to play with what you got, okay? So, Smokin Pecan pellets, that was method 2. Let's go on to method 3. All right, well, we're back. So, talking about method 3. See this funny looking burlap sack I got sitting in front of me? Who cares what it looks like, right? It's what's inside that matters. So this is a 20-pound bag of crushed pecan shells. Now, just like the Smokin Pecan pellets, this is the raw product. This is the crushed shells. I get these from Dave Kleinman down in Texas, a friend of mine from Facebook and Instagram. It is $35 for a 20-pound bag delivered to your doorstep. And I'll leave, you have to email him. He doesn't have a website, so I'll leave his email address down below if you want to contact him. He's sold out right now, but he's waiting till fall harvest to get more in stock. Anyways, so what you do with this, now, it's universal, but you got to be careful. So on the Lone Star, I mix 33% ratio of crushed pecan shells with my pellets. And the nice part about it, you can mix these with any pellet you want. All right, whatever you got, these will mix in. So on the Lone Star, caveat emptor, the Lone Star, go about 33%, you won't run into problems, okay? And I'm just that's what I have in my hopper right now. I want to get them all over my driveway, but you can see there's the shells plus my pellets are mixed in there. And what I do to get the 33%, it's, 1 scoop of these plus 2 scoops of pellets. And that's by volume, not weight. Okay, so just get yourself a nice big scoop, ice scoop, and you measure it out that way. So these things, I think, because there's more surface area, so here's the little bits of the shells, all right? I think because maybe there's more surface area, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to talk to some of my combustion engineering friends. This thing at 33% puts out as much smoke, or maybe a little more, than the pellets by themselves. Now, this, you can go 33%. And the reason why is this has a rounded open center auger, okay? On my Blaz'n Grill Works grills, I've done the same test. Rounded open center auger on the Blaz'n, it will run at 33%, okay? Now, for some of the closed shaft augers with square flights, okay? So you can see the shoulder on the flight. If it's sharp and square and you have to go, it'll work, you have to go with a lower ratio. I suggest trying 20% ratio. I've done that on my portable pellet grills, my little Pi 1. You've seen, I'll put a link up for that test. My Grilla Chimp works on that. I'll put a link for that one too. So that's another way to get lots more smoke on a regular pellet smoker or on a Lone Star, okay? Crushed pecan shells, it's like magic. I'm not sure why. Now, if you can get pecan shells, make sure they're crushed. Whole pecan shells will jam up your auger. Be careful. All right, so that was method 3. Let's go on to method 4. All right, well, we're back. and we're going to talk about the next method. So what I've got here is a little smoker box. It's heavy, it's built heavy duty. This is called the Rollbox by SmokeChasers, okay? Again, I'm not paid or sponsored, but the little Rollbox sticker they sent me. Here's the SmokeChasers sticker they sent me. Anyways, look, it's a little smoke box. It's got holes drilled in it strategically. What you do is you fill the bottom of this up with charcoal briquettes, just one layer. You put your chunks on top. You light a briquette, stick it down, make sure they're touching, and then you close the lid. It starts smoking. And what I do on my Lone Star is this fits under the heat shield drip tray, okay? No problem, plenty of clearance. Now you've also seen me, I'll leave another video card link. You've seen me test this on my Blaz'n, works fine on there. So this even gets you more smoke. I gotta put some more oil on here because it's carbon steel and it's starting to rust a bit. So Rollbox by SmokeChasers. So excellent choice. I think they sell them for $89 online. I'll leave a link. I'm not paid or sponsored by these guys. I just like their product. That's the way Lost Canuck is. I don't take money for stuff. I just buy stuff and try it and use it. If I like it, I'll tell you. Because this is my hobby. This isn't my, trust me, this is not my full-time job. Okay, so we got that. And it fits under the deflector plate. I'll just open this up. So it also works on the Blaz'n Grill Works, my Grand Slam, or the gridiron. If it fits in the Grand Slam, it'll fit in the gridiron. I've seen Tom Horseman has some videos on his channel. He tried it in a Weber Searwood, and it fit in there. And I believe Smoke Sermon Barbecue has one, and he's put his into his RecTeq, and it works there too. So good channels. Check out my friends over there too, and hopefully they can say good things about me someday. All right, so there's that. Let's go to method 5. Now you notice I got it all opened up. I got to start taking some grates out. I'll leave the top one in. I got to take this, but this is the normal Lone Star bottom grate. Now we're going to get into Lone Star specific things. So that Rollbox, check the dimensions. See if it'll fit in your pellet smoker, but that's a universal. We talked about the pellets. We talked about Smokin Pecan pellets. We talked about crushed pecan shells. That. Now we're getting into very Lone Star Grillz specific items. All right, well, I'm going to inject this into the video because I forgot, but there is one more way of getting a little bit more smoke if you have an older pellet grill, pellet smoker, with a Roanoke controller. That's the old one with the red LEDs on it and stuff. I put a brand new FireBoard pellet drive on my Blaz'n. That's this thing here. Super simple to do. I think they're 300 bucks. I can't remember what I paid for this. Anyways, I installed this. Installation is really simple. If you didn't see me putting this on the Blaz'n, I'll leave a video card up top and to link to this video. And it's simple. So if you've got an older pellet grill, you know, something off the like a, I don't know, like an old Traeger or maybe a Camp Chef or something, and the controller's crapped out on you, these things give you a little more smoke, just the way the algorithm's written. I've got the Lone Star algorithm set up on this one, and I'm getting a little more smoke on my Blaz'n. So that's another way to do it. So I forgot it, and I just thought I'd put that into the video. All right, thanks. Okay, well, the next method is a hidden method. So it looks normal here, right? My deflector plate's in. Everything looks standard, looks happy, looks normal. Let's take out the deflector plate, and I'm going to show you what else is underneath here. I like to use my magnets. Take my magnets. This I'll just pull out on its own. Okay, I'm just going to pull the deflector plate out. Hang on. Makes it a little easier. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to take the camera off the tripod. This is the Lone Star Grillz charcoal basket. So let's take a look, see what we got here. Okay, so as you can see, fits right in the belly of your smoker. And what I like to do, well, first of all, you can fill this with charcoal and run this whole thing like a charcoal grill. Now, I've done a video on that one. I'll leave the video card up at the top here in a second. Check that one out. It's fun to run. Anyway, so you can run pellets over here. And then over down at this end, I like to put charcoal briquettes and some wood chunks and stuff, make a little snake over here. And this will give you, and then you can put your deflector plate back in if you're just doing a long smoke. And it'll burn as long as, you have wood and stuff. Don't fill this up too much because you'll spike your channel 7 probe over here, okay? All right, so that's another way to get a little more smoke on a Lone Star is if you got the charcoal basket, which I bought with mine, you can just fit it in. Plus, it fits under the deflector plate, or you can run it just like a charcoal grill with your grates over top and cook right over it. So that was another method. So let's go to the next one. All right, well, we got our deflector plate back in. Let me just grab my magnets off here. We'll get set up again. I like to use a paper towel under them so that it doesn't get all gooped up. Next extra smoke method. And this is pretty cool too. This is the split basket from now this one I bought from Huber Products because it was the only one available. Like I said, you can buy them from Lone Star right from their website, or you can buy this from Mike Huber. I'm not going to tell you where to buy things from. You can see the tabs here. This fits right over top of your burn box, or your burn pot, just like that, okay? Now let me grab the sliding plate. We'll talk about this, okay? Take the tripod off to show you what's going on. All right, so there's the deflector plate I got from Huber. And this is their sliding plate that comes with it. So you just slide this out of the way like you would regular. You see there's there's the split basket sitting right on top of my outside of the burn pot. So what you can do here is you can run a split, throw some briquettes in. I wouldn't recommend lump charcoal because it gets too hot. And then fill it up or put some stuff in there, and then you close it and you run it. Now, so you can see it's all closed up. You can't even see anything, right? So hang on a second. Another part. All right, so here's a little demo. Oh yeah, hopefully the wasp doesn't live in there. Here's a little demo. Here's a couple of mini chunks of wood I got. So you just take them, slide that out of the way, and you just throw them in your split basket. And I found when you're running your pellet smoker low, like under 250, it doesn't seem to catch right away. So I crank mine up to 250 or even 275, let it catch, turn it back down, cover it up, and then start grilling. Now I'm going to grab my top rack and show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, I got my hands a little greasy there. My friend Craig Framer, another YouTube friend, got me turned on to these crocodile cloths. You can get them at Home Depot. That's where I got mine. These are the grill ones, and they work great on stainless steel. Occasional spill. Don't use it too much on paint, though. These will eventually take your paint off. But it's a degreasing cloth. I should have had this cleaner. What I do now that we're using the now that we're on the split basket is this is very important, okay? So with your FireBoard controller, they give you a clip and an ambient probe, okay? So what you should do is you plug your ambient into any one of the 6 channels on your FireBoard controller, snake it through your little probe port here, and then put this, up near wherever you're cooking the meat. Okay, let's say I have my brisket or whatever there, and then I snake it through here. You know how it works. Anyways, you plug it into the bottom channel. Take your pick. I just happen to plug it into one. Doesn't matter. On the FireBoard app, it's going to ask you what your control channel is. Stock is 7 in the pit. Now, like I said, this thing spikes when you put wood, charcoal, that kind of stuff in there. So to try and calm the spikes down, use your ambient probe up near where you're actually cooking. It'll help meter the pellets properly, okay? So that's one way to do it. Now, if you've got a cabinet, 36-inch, even the El Fuego Trio, you can change the control channel when you use the split basket for extra smoke. So I think that's it. I think that's all the extra methods on the Lone Star Grillz 42-inch pellet smoker, plus some universal methods I went through talking about other pellet smokers. So like I said, I've got the hopper here loaded up with crushed pecan shells, which for me most of the time is very adequate. And I got my split basket in there. Oh, you know what? There's one thing. There's one hack that I did a video on that you should know about. So you notice I don't have the bottom grate in. Here's what you can do. Okay, let me show you. This is the universal grate frame that Lone Star sells. Okay, we're going to put that in. All right, just like that. Going to keep wiping my hands off here. So, you notice it's wide open. Now to get to this split basket, it's kind of a pain in the butt when you have the regular grate in, because you got to pull that all the way out here, and then it's kind of hot, greasy, then you got to kind of fish your hand in there. Well, with this, you'll notice I've got my, these are just some super cheap stainless steel Amazon. I think it's like 7mm diameter stainless steel grates. What you do, these will fit in the universal grate frame. You stack them together all the way down. I'll take it off the tripod so you can see. So pretend I have the rest in there anyway. So you can either load this right up with more grates, or you can leave it like that, and then you have a wide open. You don't have to bump yourself or hit yourself or anything. And yeah, I got them from Amazon. I'll leave a link below. Like $54. Now, the only thing some guys have done, okay, so you see there is a gap here, okay, and I think it's like if you put a 1/2-inch square piece of stock across the front, this will be tight. So it bothers some people. Me, nah, I don't care. It doesn't really bother me. I'm not moving them around too much. So there, that's just kind of part of the hack with the split basket. All right, well, final method. Maybe this should have been the first method, but this is method number 8, last one. Lots of methods to get more smoke. Now, this is Lone Star Grillz-specific. So if you don't have a Lone Star Grillz, not a universal hack. So, wood chips. So you remember back when I was talking about some of the other methods, I talked about the pecan shells, the crushed pecan shells. They're awesome. And actually, they produce a lot of smoke. But I think the wood chips give you a little extra flavor. And that's my opinion. Maybe not be a fact, but it's an opinion. So what I have here, now there's 2 sources for the wood chips, okay? And I'll bring the camera in close, but this is what I'm talking about here. Wood chips, okay? So there's 2 sources of the wood chips. All right, these happen to be Smokin Delicious. Those are cherry chips that I like to mix in with my 100% cherry pellets. You can go 50-50 by volume, no problem. Lone Star will handle it, okay? So those are Smokin Delicious. You got to buy the right size though. It's called Minuto number 4, Okay, and then they'll split the box or whatever. Now, it's the same exact price as what Lone Star sells. You can buy Lone Star Oak and Lone Star Hickory wood chips. They'll, of course, sold by Lone Star, they'll run in the smoker up to 50% by volume, and they give you a little extra flavor. So like I said, 2 sources. I'll put the links down below. Smokin'Licious, which is what I have because you can't get cherry from Lone Star, or Lone Star chips. All right, so that was the final method. All right, well, we've come to pretty much the end of the video. That's all the methods that I know of how to get a little more smoke out of this. If you have some different methods, hey, why don't you leave me a comment down there below, and I answer all my comments. Now, if you're going to tell me, hey, Lost Canuck, the way to get more smoke is buy a stick burner. Well, yeah, okay, I agree. Some of us have that luxury, some of us don't. So I like to try and work with what I got. And anyways, but if you know some pellet smoker, pellet grill hacks, leave me a comment. I'm willing to try anything out. Okay, so appreciate all the new people coming in to watch the video. Thanks for watching. Hey, you guys are awesome. You make my channel, you make it grow, so keep on coming back. I got tons more content. Oh, special apology to my friend Jason. I told him I was going to do a 2-zone cook on my PK. Well, Lost Canuck tries to thin out some of his grills sometimes, so I just sold the PK. Like, I didn't think it was going to sell that fast. I had the ribs ready, and I was going to throw them on, and then the guy came and he picked it up immediately. So we'll figure something else out, Jason. Maybe I'll get a PK Go or something small. Anyways, so there's that. Hey, you guys are awesome, by the way, for watching. Thank you very much. For all you other, for all people, don't forget, please hit that like, the subscribe, and the little ding, ding, ding notify me button. Lets you know when there's new content on the channel. And again, for all my regular subscribers, thanks for subscribing. You guys are awesome too. And then finally, I have an Instagram page. If you're interested in Instagram, I post some different things over there from time to time. I'll put up the QR code over here for the Instagram page. Just check that out. All right. And then finally, if you're interested in anything that Lost Canuck uses on his cooks, looking for some summertime gifts for a friend, check out my Lost Canuck affiliate link store. Now, it's an affiliate link store. So yes, I do get a very small commission, so I can buy things like Gator wipes and, roll boxes and things like that, okay? So consider checking out the store. I'll leave a link for that down below too. Okay, so, and I don't know why I wore the hat today. I did get a free bowl of soup with it.
This is the worst looking hat I ever saw. Well, you buy a hat like this, I'll bet you get a free bowl of soup, huh? Oh, it looks good on you, though.
So, but we didn't do any cooking. So we're going to get on that next. All right. So if you guys want to see me use any of my other equipment or cook things that are different that you've always wanted to try, again, leave me a comment below. I answer them all. All right. So we're at the end. Lost Canuck always says, famous last words, be kind to each other. It's super important nowadays. You don't know what other people are going through or what they've been through or where they're going. So I know it's hard sometimes, but extend kindness. It really matters. Being kind matters. All right. So take care. Love you guys. Bye-bye.